All my life it would be right. I shame without a Well, blessings, friends, and we welcome you to this very special edition of This Is My Story. I am Bishop Andre Woods, your host for today. And listen, do we have a special edition, a treat for you today? And listen, what I want you to do as we prepare for this wonderful interview with our guests, I want you to like and share, jump in the comment section and share your comments. Let us know you're there. Tag, start your own watch party. Do what you got to do. Reach everybody. We want you to chime in as we'll be talking with the man of God, prophet of God, pastor, in the person of the Reverend Dr. Edward L. Branch. Listen, friends, I want you to join us as we're going to be talking about his story. Dr. Branch is going to be sharing with us the highlights of his wonderful ministry and how God has brought him and blessed him. And we want you to be a witness. We want you to hear, perhaps those of you that heard of him and know him, we're going to hear some of the untold story and how God has blessed him over the years, so many years. And then I'm going to start with this one. A lot of you all didn't know that Dr. Branch is an accomplished musician, because we so used to his awesome preaching and teaching and ministering the gospel. But we're going to talk about all of that today. So join us. Thank you for joining us. Share again, like and share. And then, of course, we want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Bishop Andre S. Woods. All of our programming is there, as well as this program will be there on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. So drive everybody to Bishop Andre S. Woods' Facebook page. We're on the Fellowship of Music and Arts page, and we went public as well. So you don't have no excuse wherever you are. You may be driving, whatever you're doing. You're in the kitchen cooking for Sunday dinner already. Listen, take a minute, and we're going to be blessed by the man of God. Listen, I want everybody that's in, especially all our Detroiters and our Chicagoans, let's welcome to This Is My Story, the one and only Pastor Emeritus, Reverend Dr. Edward L. Branch. Blessings, man of God. Thank you for being here today.
Bless you, Bishop. Man, what a delight. What a special pleasure it is to be here beside you, even virtually. This is outstanding.
Yeah, man. I want to thank you. I'm humbled that you even had the time and took the time to be here to share with us the EL branch story. Oh man, I'm so excited to hear your journey, man, because a lot of people see, I say this all the time at these special times, they see you, they really don't know from whence you come and how you come and what it took to maintain, your place in ministry over all of these years, man. What a blessing. Listen, what I want you to do, jump in, because the spotlight's on you, Pastor, and I want you to take us back to your beginning, whether music was first or the gospel preaching ministry. Take us back and walk us through the beginning of your journey.
Man, look, if we do that, we got to go all the way back. We got to go to where we got to go to where I was sitting, playing a little guitar that had 3 strings on it, a hollow body guitar, just playing this thing at home, man. I'm just picking on it and picking on it. And then my sister was kind enough to buy me an electric guitar and an amplifier. And that was just the beginning of music for me.
Yeah.
On that level. And I started playing that guitar. We organized right in my little neighborhood on the west side of Chicago. We a couple of my little cohorts there, we organized a little group called the Ventures.
Oh my God.
And man, we played together. I played lead guitar with that group. Man, we had little talent shows and all of that around Chicago and so forth. And I started playing the guitar at church. That's where it all began. I was playing guitar at church, and and the young lady who was our pianist got married, and at this time she was having a baby and went on leave. And so I had to learn how to play the whole thing. And so that's when I started hitting on the keyboard, hitting on the piano and all of that, and then later the church bought an organ, and we Hammond C3,
Yes,
man, and Lord, I fell in love with that and just started playing. It was Clancy Music School in Chicago, and I went there, to learn a little bit about music theory and all of that kind of thing, just to try to improve myself. But basically, we was just in the work, and I started playing, of course, for our choirs at New Mount Sinai Baptist Church in Chicago, and the rest is history. Then called into ministry. But man, during those times we would get out on a Sunday night and go down to Christ Tabernacle with the Reverend Milton Brunson. And
yeah.
man, you talking about a time on Sunday night. And all over Chicago, man, it was one broadcast right after the other. And there was a group of us that just kind of went our own way, man, just to enjoy the music, to be a part of the worship services, and you know how it was for musicians at that time, to hang out together and to have fun together, and to really just delve into gospel music. And it was at that time, the kind of music, man, that the church, I mean, it would rock the church every Sunday, and all day Sundays. And then we would have a musical almost every week, if it ain't the young adult choir, then it's the gospel chorus, and then it's the youth or the children's choir. And in our church, we had the junior choir, and just one after the other would have their musicals, and some of the groups had a monthly musical on these Sunday nights, and And that was our life, man. That was all we knew is church and church music. And so to be a part of that movement at that time in church music was just phenomenal. And I could never forget the journey that we experienced during those years in Chicago.
Man, I tell you, I love Chicago church, man. Because that's what we used to do when I was at St. James, man. Reverend would call me on Saturday night, say, come to church, pack a bag. Because right after church, we hit 94.
Yes,
Man, we would go from Clay Evans broadcast, and I had never seen nothing like First Church, man.
my first
11
oh
p.m. at
Lord.
night, Pastor. 11 p.m. at night,
Yeah.
packed
Yes, sir.
for broadcast.
Yes, sir.
And they be in there, they hit the broadcast and out the door.
That's
You
right.
know, it was just amazing. And then I think some churches here tried to do that. You remember Holy Cross
Oh
Friday
yeah,
night broadcast, and then
yeah, man, James
and then-
Porter. Mhm.
yeah, man. Oh, yeah. And you remember J. Allen Caldwell, Burnett, Prayer Time.
That's right.
You know,
That's
and
right.
man, those churches, New Bethel's broadcast.
Yeah.
And then later on, you know, we had the Sunday night 11 p.m. slot in Detroit on WGPR at St. James. It was just wonderful. But now listen, how did you get to Detroit?
Well, see, I was playing for New Mount Sinai, and I had gone into ministry. I was licensed in ministry in February of 1973, and ordained in August of 1974, and I got married in June of 1975, and so. Right after getting married, just a few months after that, Bishop Lawrence London was called to the New Jerusalem Baptist Church in Detroit. And so he invited me to come with him as his assistant. And so that's when I came to Detroit. I came to Detroit in January of 1976. And started working with him as the assistant pastor. That's what brought me to Detroit. And my goal was just really to stay a little while and to help him get things going and get on his feet. And then I was going to get right back to Chicago, you know, but the Lord didn't see fit for things to go that way. That was my plan, but that wasn't the Lord's plan. And so I left New Jerusalem to work with Reverend Franklin at New Bethel. And so in May of 76, I went to New Bethel. I joined there, and Reverend Franklin embraced me in a way that was just unimaginable, because numbers of people had told me, said, he'll never know you there. He'll never know you there. But he showed me such love and such support. And I preached, you know, for New Bethel, for Reverend Franklin, you know, numbers of times, Sunday mornings and the broadcasts and all of the rest. And then I was called in December of 77 to Third New Hope. And Reverend Franklin, you know, of course, put his stamp of approval on that. And my installation service was that next year, in June, you know, so in June of 78, I had my installation service, and New Bethel was right there with me. Reverend Franklin did not make that service, but he was out in California at that time. That's where Aretha was at that time, and but for my first anniversary, which was the next year in 79, Reverend Franklin was there, didn't preach. Reverend Robert Wright, and you know Reverend Robert Wright. Reverend Robert Wright preached the service at Reverend Franklin's request, but Reverend Franklin was there at Third New Hope for my first anniversary. And that was on a Friday night. And then, of course, Reverend Franklin was shot on that Saturday night. And so really the last church Reverend Franklin was in was Third New Hope for my first anniversary. And that was, man, that was so many years ago now and all of that. But that was the beginning of the journey, man. We at Third New Hope, you know, started very small. I went there, was called there, and we had less than 25 members. But you know, Lord grew our church rather rapidly, and 7 years later, we relocated to the Plymouth Road facility, and the rest is history. The rest is history. It was full speed ahead after that.
Yeah, man. I was peeping around the corner at y'all, man.
Yeah.
It's such a blessing, man, to have that. But I didn't know you played guitar. Yeah, you got me on that one. I meant to.
Well,
That's
see,
how you got started.
yeah, guitar was my first instrument. That's how I got started. That's
Yeah,
when
yeah,
like music got in my bones, and it was from the guitar that I kind of transposed to
yeah,
keys and started playing the piano and the organ. And
yeah.
of course now all you got to do is play a Hammond B3 or C3 one time to fall in love with that.
Oh man, you know I know. Yes, sir. Just I can go to sleep on it. Just don't take me off of it. I mean,
Man, I'm telling you, I am
hey,
telling you.
Rodney White says, "Bless you, Dr. E.L. Branch," and then your girl is in here, Joya, Joya
All right,
West.
all right.
She said,
Wonderful.
"Hey, Dad."
All right, that's Joyosa. That's my girl.
Yes, but listen, man. The now, Lawrence London. I remember when he came to Detroit, because one of the guys that was there as his musician was also helping my grandfather on Sunday nights. That's Chris Ware.
Chris, wow,
Chris
yeah,
Ware
man.
was there, and he would come to our church on Sunday nights, and that's how I met all those folk, man. And I remember those days. And then uh, now Shakespeare came from Chicago too, right?
Right. Shakespeare came from Chicago. We came from the same neighborhood right there
Yeah,
in Chicago.
man,
Yeah.
man,
And
ain't that
he
something?
was my life friend, man. Just a
Yeah,
tremendous brother to me.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So after you got the third New Hope and the Lord blessed, and y'all went to the Plymouth location, and then like you say, the rest is history. You develop all these ministries, phenomenal ministries, and during that tenure, you also served uh, within the convention, state convention, and the national body as well, National Baptist Convention. Uh, how did all that come apart? Because I remember you being also BMNE state president as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Well, it all started, man. I had a member of our church, senior woman, who worked in the convention. She worked mainly in the Michigan District Baptist Association, and I was thinking about pulling our church out of all of that and working with another convention altogether, the National Baptist Convention of America, which is the convention that our church was, the New Mount Sinai was with in Chicago. And so I said, well, we can switch over and go in that direction. And so the late Sister Keys, she asked me, she says, Pastor, why don't you just come over and see if you like it? And if you do that, if you don't like it, then we'll go wherever you want to go. And I said, all right, that sounds so fair. That's a deal. And I started working with the Michigan District Association, the late Dr. T.C. Simmons. He was the moderator at that time. And Dr. Simmons embraced me and was so kind to me. New Bethel was in the Michigan Baptist District Association as well. And along with the Messiah Baptist Church, New Mount Zion, under the late Dr. James Newby was there as well, and R. Wendell Harris. I mean, just a list of these just icons in preaching and teaching and all the rest. And they just embraced me as a 23, 24-year-old preacher. And so I decided to stay. I decided to stay until soon I became a secretary for the district association, and later became the financial secretary for BM&E State Convention. And then I became the recording secretary at the Council of Baptist Pastors. And really just through serving, doing the best I could do in the offices to which I was elected, just one after the other, I became the president of BM&E State Congress. And then from there, I became president of BM&E State Convention. And I became president of the Council of Baptist Pastors at the same time that I was president of BM&E Convention. And so doing this work, with churches, pastors throughout our denomination and the National Baptist Convention, where I served on the board of directors, and of course, had numerous opportunities to preach in the national work at different times in the Congress, as well as late night services. Just really cemented my relationship with the denominational work, particularly the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated. And it just was an amazing journey. And we were able to see lots of great things accomplished, and the fellowship so rich and warm in our district association, the state convention, and the National Baptist Convention, along with our work here locally with the Council of Baptist Pastors of Detroit and vicinity. So, and it's just a wealth of experience that I gained, and the Lord knows, leading people as well as pastors, man, that's an anvil of hammer and anvil, man, to shape you and to create character along the way. So I thank God for the journey.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. But I'm gonna jog your memory. I think it was at Second Ebenezer, if I got it right. But I would every now and then sneak into the Baptist Pastors Council meetings on Tuesday. I'll never forget, you were up and you talked about iron sharpeneth iron. I'll never forget that message, man.
Wow.
That impacted me so until I went, I probably owe you some tithes or something. But the best thing I can do is go and study that scripture, man. That thing hit me so, I said, oh, that's the secret. That's why, this is not happening and that's not happening.
Yeah.
Guys seeking advice from the wrong places when they need to be looking at somebody who's been where they're trying to go.
That's right. Hey, and that's one of the things, that's missing right now with a lot of the upcoming pastors and leaders in the church, is that, they don't value, many of them don't value the relationships, the way that we did. When I talk about, C.L. Franklin, and I talk about T.C. Simmons, and, all of these pastors who I learned from, Joseph Barlow, who pastored in,
oh, wow, yeah.
Mount Zion E-Course there. Man, this man sat with me and told me stories of his own journey, helping me through times of struggle and times of doubt and times of just total dismay and disarray in ministry. I mean, and we all have that. And it's just a matter of, who do you go to, and can you listen to somebody?
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing, is that we happen to have some right now who can't nobody tell them nothing. And, you know, they not open to receiving is wisdom and instruction from somebody who, like you say, have been there, who have already traveled that road and know where the potholes are and all of the rest.
Yeah, yeah. Man, you struck another chord with me when you mentioned Barlow. Man, Barlow was instrumental in me getting involved in community work
Oh,
with church in the neighborhood. It was his recommendation because that's how I got involved with Moses.
okay, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that organization that he was, and he recommended me to serve on the MacDougall Hunt Citizen District Council back when Coleman Young was office. And I got appointed because of his recommendation to serve on the Citizens District Council. I never forget that. When you mentioned his name, it just hit me. People
Yeah.
like that, man. He took me under his wings too, man. How I met him was we would do an annual concert. The St. James Choir, we would do an annual concert for their church for Mount
Mhm.
Zion out there. It was like every Tuesday after Mother's Day.
Okay. Yeah.
Every year, that was our spot. They reserved it for St. James, and we went out there and did a full concert. And I met him, and he started talking to me about that stuff, man, and got me involved. I was hooked.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Great guy, great
Yeah.
preacher, great leader.
Yeah. And just man, his heart was made of pure gold. And
Yeah, yeah,
he just cared. He brought me there to Mount Zion to preach revival for him. And man, I don't even know how many years, 7, 8, 9 years maybe in a row that I preached revival there at Mount Zion, and gave me opportunity to hang out with him and
yeah,
all the rest. And of course, he came to Third New Hope and preached, you know, for us numbers of times for our church anniversary and other occasions. We did ordinations and all those kinds of things, and we just had a great relationship. After C.L. Franklin was shot, uh, there was just a void in terms of relationships like that, and so Joseph Barlow happened to have been the person who just stepped right in. Lord just brought him into my life at that time.
man, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you kind of hinted around what it's like leading pastors and running your own church, your own ministry, your own personal life, and now you got to deal with convention stuff, state stuff,
Yeah.
and man, and then serving on the national level. I'm sure you know that was time consuming and expenditure of energy and resources and everything. What was that experience like? Because I know a lot of preachers, uh, they kind of dream of, or either their aspirations are there to serve in a national capacity. And I believe it's such an honor when one is honored to do so. And what was that like, that experience like for you, Pastor?
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. I mean, just to connect with pastors and churches from around the country and beyond, because you know, the National Baptist Convention, you know, does have reach beyond the contiguous United States. But to make those connections, and then the convention, of course, would meet in different cities, you know, throughout the nation. And so just traveling to them, being a part of the meetings and a part of the decision-making process and all of the rest. Then for me, even a greater experience than those things was just sharing in the worship, man, hearing the preaching and the level of teaching and lectures and all of that. And then the music that would come from the National Convention. Man, it's nothing like hearing 20,000, 30,000 people, singing "Pass Me Not, O Gentle Savior," Amazing Grace, how sweet. All of those voices joining in together, man, it's just nothing like it. So, and when the convention, had a cause and come together on it, when there was hurricanes that hit Florida, when there was, that massive disaster in New Orleans and down in Alabama, outside of Mobile, and the convention comes together to support those causes. It's just nothing. It's nothing like being a part of something of that nature, and and letting your influence be felt in those cases. So it's just tremendous work, and I know it's suffering right now, and it's a lot of things that people talk about our national work and what it's not doing, and what it isn't, and all of that, and in a lot of cases they're right, but and while the convention won't be what it was 40, 50 years ago, and probably shouldn't be, it needs to adapt to the times and to wherever the Lord is leading it for this season, but the value of the connection and the fellowship and the camaraderie when it comes to causes that are for all of our common good, and nothing matches that. Nothing matches that.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of that, I take words from my friend Dr. Clark Joseph when he said we don't need to go back.
Yeah.
He quoted the hymn, "A charge to keep our hair." That's what he was saying. He said, I got to keep this charge of God to glorify this ever present. I got to serve this present age.
This present age, my calling to fulfill. Yeah.
And I think that, and we'll turn the corner on that with worship. But then I want to talk about your tenure at Third New Hope, and because you had campuses, different camp. I think we had one church in 3 locations, was it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we won't talk about that, but while it's in my mind, I'm getting young, I don't want to forget it. The landscape, being a musician and looking at the church, the worship, overview of worship now when it comes to the music, and how important music is, especially in the Black experience, for real. It ain't nothing like a Black church with the good music and good preaching. We go for that, but it has changed. There's been a shift, and I keep hearing some of my brothers and pastors and ministers, and especially musicians as well, trying to make proper adjustments and trying to not be trendy, but yet serve the congregation well enough so that they will get a balanced diet in music. But there's some places that don't want to sing hymns no more, don't want to do this. And they switched, even before pandemic, they were downsizing, and they had these praise teams, and which is good, because I always done praise and worship all my life. I mean, that's all I know, is praise and worship. But I think a couple of pastors that I've been dealing with made the mistake of allowing the praise team versus the choir, where it kind of caused a little tug of war, where they kind of tried to make them special. And I'm like, they need to be in the choir too.
Yeah.
They can come out of the choir. They got, some places, that just one church, the pastor called me, he got special seating for the praise team. They got their own microphone. All that's fine, but what you don't want to do is make it look like we got this set, and then we got our time, and it's just one worship service, and all the music, whether whoever's doing it, should glorify God. What's your idea about how we've watched some changes, and are those changes good or bad, or how can we make it right?
Well, you and I have come along this journey, at the same time. Our lives parallel. We right at the same age, and we have experienced the same things along the way, and we've seen changes. We remember, you and I, we remember when the Church of God in Christ had drums and we did.
Yeah.
We remember when a little storefront with 10, 12 members would have a drum set and a guitar, and a Baptist church or an AME church, would not have any of that. You'd have a piano, and maybe you'd have an organ, and you made your music and you did what you was going to do, and you'd be done. So we have seen change and we fought for some of that change. We fought so that the church could have drums, so that the church could have guitar, so that the church could have praise dancers. Because man, when we were coming on, man, you start talking about somebody dancing in the church like that, man, you be strung up by your thumbs.
Yeah, man.
And so we've seen these changes. So I'm not critical of the changes that have occurred, the way the praise teams have become, very popular and powerful within the life of the church, and how choirs have been downsized and in some cases sidelined in preference for praise and worship style music and all the rest. And I won't argue with any of it. I just know this, that within me, there's still that love for the big choir music, there's still that love for people, the people of God, worshiping together and singing together. One of the first things I did as a pastor when I started at Third New Hope, I said, look, this whole thing of choirs marching in, I don't understand it. I've done it and have known it all my life. I said, but I don't understand it. I said, because the choir is outside of the sanctuary, getting ready to march in. And while we are doing praise and worship, devotion, whatever it was that we would call it, and then we had time for the choir to march in. And it was basically, I guess, built around the fact that the choir, first of all, didn't arrive on time. And then secondly, they had to put on their robes and get equipped and everything to come in. But there was really never a solid biblical reason for many of the things that we were doing in worship. So one of the things I wanted to see was us starting together with everybody in the sanctuary and ending together, so that we were all a part of everything that was going on. And so, I like I say, I don't give a pushback against some of the newer things. However, we got to be very careful with what we throw away, because some of those things, man, I tried as hard as I could, and hope to continue trying to make sure that the church still treasures the hymns. Some years back, we did what we called a hymn service. We entitled it "And They Sang a Hymn." And man, we brought people not only from Third New Hope, but people from other churches and from all around who loved the hymns and who could sing hymns, brought them together. And we did a little recording. We did, at that time, and put all of that together in an effort that I believe to try our best to preserve hymn singing for the church, and to treasure that level of music, so that we don't forget where we've come from, and that we don't forget. Dr. Noble out of Oklahoma once said to me, he said, Branch, he said, this new music, some of it is like balling up a whole lot of sheets of newspaper and setting it on fire. He said, it makes a big, big flame and a whole lot of smoke. He said, but it soon burns out. He said that old music is like lighting a piece of coal. He said, it doesn't really make that big a flame. He said, but the fire get all in it. He said, and it burns a long time. And Dr. Noble had something there, because that old music, as we call it old music, but there was a time it was the new music.
Right, right.
But it still resonates in our spirits. And I think for the most part that it should be preserved at all costs.
Yeah. My whole thing is exposure. We can't fuss at these young musicians and this particular generation if we don't expose them to the music the right way, because they feel like, we're trying to stuff it down their throats. I say, like you said, once some of this stuff was new to us, we didn't digest it quick and fast. Because the church I come from, my grandfather's church, we sung everything fast,
Yeah.
Slowing it down, I thought, no, even if we slowed it down, we picked it back up.
Yeah.
And that used to be, my grandpa used to fuss at me all the time, why you play everything so fast? That's not even the beat of that. Slow down so we can understand what the song is trying to do and say to us. But I think that if we can keep people biblically sound and monitor what these songs are, I'm good with the praise team. I just don't want to be entertained. I don't like the performance part.
Yeah.
And then when we just go too far, man, I'm like, stop fussing at us. I went to a service, man, and the guy made me so mad. I told the pastor, I said, tell them Negroes to just get up and sing and we'll get with them. But he fussing at us because we ain't clapping our hands and we ain't standing up, not touch your neighbor and give your neighbor a high five, run around the church. He too busy giving traffic directions instead of singing.
That's it. I call them praise bullies instead of praise leaders, man.
I'm like, man, if you go on and sing and give us something to get with you about, then we'll do that. But you up here fussing, you turning folk off, man.
Right.
And then the other thing is, like a lot of my music colleagues, we've been talking about the decorum in worship and the attire, where they've taken this come as you are thing a little bit too far. I'm like, I always understood that to be come as you are, your heart, the condition of your life, as opposed to your dress, But if you're not talking to people about these things to help them understand, how they gonna know? People come in off the street, come into church, and in some cases, the folk that say they know better dress worse than the folk.
Right. That's right.
So man, it's a new day. I cited where I remember when the colorful socks was a fashion trend and everybody was buying socks to match their tie and all that. Man, now these Negroes ain't even wearing no socks,
Yeah, right. That's right.
They wearing ankles.
Right.
So, it is what it is. And some places they want to wear their baseball caps in church. It's a lot going on with some of the new generation ministries, and they are allowing the toe out jeans on the platform or where the stage, and then they got the lights and it is what it is. But I think, to me, if we can just continue to get the message, long as the message is predominant over the lights and the dress and and the performance, and we can still get people to see Jesus and not us,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, and I think that's the goal, you know, that we focus on Jesus, that we focus on true spiritual worship. And if many of these things can enhance that, then so be it. So, but if it takes away from that, then that's when it becomes a problem. But you know, you know, as you already said, you know, we've come a long way, and we have seen changes. And believe me, we're gonna see some more, because it's like there have been more changes in the last 5 years than the
Mm,
50 years before that.
yeah.
You know, and so change is happening so rapidly right now, until it's almost uh, impossible to keep up with it. Especially for those of us from from earlier generations. It's hard. It's hard sometimes to keep up with the speed of change, and to understand it even. And so that's just one of the challenges that we know we face in the life of the church, and will be facing for some time to come.
Yeah, yeah, it's a challenge. And I thank God for leaders who keep themselves abreast of what's going on, even in the music and just all across the church world spectrum, so that they can make wise choices, even with the music and ministry things that they're doing. Pernestine Williams says, "Hey, Pastor Branch."
No, Prentice Thing,
Yeah, she's
dear
a
friend, long time.
Elder David Tate from out of
Yes.
Southwest Detroit. Um, and so let me ask you about you say your convention. Talk about your annual conference that you do.
Yes, the Voice of a Prophet conference is a preaching conference. It is designed, for the purpose of helping preachers and pastors in their preaching ministry. And so we have classes, we have lectures, and sermons that are designed for that express purpose. It's held at the end of April each year, and we have had some of the most outstanding and well prepared preachers and lecturers and teachers, singers. It just has been a tremendous experience. Voice of a Prophet conference, and we actually started the conference centered around the life and ministry of C.L. Franklin, and recognizing Reverend Franklin as not only the prolific and profound preacher, popular preacher that he was, but also for his contributions to civil rights and to social justice and all of that. So we wanted to try to continue that. We wanted it to be the life and ministry of C.L. Franklin for a new generation, because there's many preachers who are coming on now, who never knew him, never heard him in person, never met him, and we wanted to be sure that his impact and his legacy continues. And of course, I just happen to be that anybody who knows me, got to know a little bit about C.L. Franklin, because I'm going to share that. That's talk to me for a few minutes, and that's some of what we're going to talk about. You're going to hear his name several times, and you're going to hear his story out of me, because he and his ministry will continue to live as long as I live inside of me, and there will be his story. And so the conference was originally designed with that in mind. And so now we are focusing a little bit broader, and we are considering also the ministry of large numbers of others, such as the Reverend Dr. Samuel DeWitt Proctor, who is also a mentor of mine, and the tremendous ministry that that he had as not only pastor of Abyssinia Baptist Church in Harlem, New York, but for the I mean, he was president of a number of universities and worked at numbers of seminaries, led doctoral cohorts, and all of the rest. He's just touched the lives of so many. The books that he's written and all of the rest, and we just feel that something has to happen to provide some nurture and training and direction for the preachers that are coming along. And some of us had the privilege of having seasoned preachers, covering us and pouring into us, and others did not. And so for those who did not have it, and for those who maybe did, but now do not, and desire to have some avenue through which they can learn and grow and continue. If you can get to a seminary, I am one to say to you, make haste and do that. Make sure that you get that training. But if by chance you cannot, or if your training was so long ago that, and things have changed and shifted, that you need additional training, I wanted our conference to be able to provide that. So that's what the Voice of a Prophet preaching conference, is all about. And so we intend to continue with that work and continue making things happen as best we can. And we just believe in God that it will continue to serve this present age, as we talked about earlier. But we just continue to talk about our journey, and I'm just this is just a fine opportunity for me to talk about how much I treasure the ministry of Bishop Andre Woods. I mean, it's just he has been the kind of icon to church music and to the work of ministry that is stellar. And I'm just grateful for him and for all that he continues to do. And which is why I appreciate this opportunity to share, and I appreciate this chance to be a part of what Bishop Woods is doing and what he's all about. And I encourage you to to stay in touch with him and to follow his ministry on Facebook and YouTube, so that you too can be informed in these areas of church music and worship life that he is so committed to. And so again, I'm just grateful for this opportunity to share with him. As our time is drawing to a close, I want to just take this opportunity to, number one, encourage all of the people of God, who are giving of themselves in ministry. And I know there's a lot of people who are just working so hard in ministry right now and have dedicated their lives to the work of God in ministry and serving the church and the people of God. I just want to encourage you to continue doing what you're doing, and to understand that there will be some challenges, there will be some tough days, but that is the time for you and for me to turn our tough side forward, because God has given all of us a toughness and a tenderness, and we got to know when to turn which of them forward. Many times we can live life with our tender side forward, but there are some days, and you know what I'm talking about. There's some situations in which we've got to be tough. We've got to have thicker skin. We have got to have endurance and the ability to hang on in there. And so that's my word to you today. That's my encouragement to you, to just turn your tough side forward for the days that are challenging, and then just keep believing that the Lord is going to see you through. So listen, my brothers and sisters, on behalf of Bishop Andre Woods and this tremendous ministry, we bid you good evening, and we bid you Godspeed, and we ask that you continue to pray for us as we will be praying for you. God bless you and God keep you is our prayer.
Blessings, friends. This is Bishop Andre Woods, and I want to thank our very special guest today, Dr. Edward L. Branch, for taking the time to share with all of us his story. Thank all of you for joining us. And listen, if you missed any part of this, please forgive all the technical difficulties we might have experienced. But if you missed any part of this wonderful interview and time sharing with Dr. Branch, certainly we invite you to go back and watch it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bishop Andre S. Woods YouTube channel, and certainly share with us on our Facebook page, Bishop Andre S. Woods. We'd be happy to have you to share each time we come with editions of This Is My Story. So on behalf of Pastor Branch, and he's already given you some blessings, I certainly want to say ditto and bless you all. And we command the blessings of the Lord to overtake you to next time. This is Bishop Andre Woods saying, I love you with the love of Christ. And I pray that God will continue to bless you and smile upon you. That is my prayer. Blessings till we meet again.